I know nothing at all about Islanders. I had not heard of this game. I guess it came out April of this year. Is that right? This is Brutus's Subblock game. So as we usually do with Subblock, if someone puts a game on Subblock, I go on Steam and I buy it, and I don't read anything about it. I guess all I saw was city building when I was trying to find box art for the YouTube thumbnail. But let's go ahead and check it out without further ado. Hey, Yum, how you doing? Proceeding ends the current run. Let's go. Move the camera with WASD. Zoom in and out. Drag the left mouse button. Rotate the camera with Q and E. Okay. Or right mouse. How much of it can I do with mouse? Pick one. Farming pack or seaweed farm? Seaweed field. Interesting. I assume I build one of these guys like near it. Mouse wheel to rotate buildings. Oh, that's cool. Big number over your building shows you how many points you get for placing it here. Small numbers tells you what influences the score. Nice. I really like the UI of this game. I feel like I've seen games that are like this before that don't do a great job of teaching you how to play. So we'll do high score mode. High score mode is like the closest thing to a campaign, I assume. This is Brutus. Lumber pack or seaweed farm? Let's try something different. Sawmill. Gets a bonus for each nearby lumberjack, warehouse, and statue. Loses points for each sawmill in range. Oh, interesting. Lumberjack. Bonus points for trees in range. That's cool. You want to have another one that isn't too close to the lumberjack? Okay. So I'm doing it wrong here, but just so I can demonstrate for the future. Whenever you reach your score goal by filling up this bar, you get new buildings. It's game over once you run out of stuff to build. Okay. Brewing pack, farming pack. I haven't seen any of the Twitch redesign yet. I like that they changed the browse page so that it's based on recommended views instead of just top to bottom. It's something I've been wanting to do for a long time. So I can put some fields up here. Assume this map is just random, what I got here. The browse page looks like it does a pretty good job too. Mill. Huh, so it's like a space maximizing game? That's kind of awesome, actually. And you have to get enough score to get new buildings, otherwise it's game over. Okay. Contains city center, house and mansion, brewery and hop field. Let's try city. Might be dynamic how many streams it's showing on the left. House. Gets a bonus for each nearby city center, shaman, statue, plateau, wall plateau, fountain, market, temple, tavern, mason, park, house. Loses points for walls and jewelry in range. Loses points for circus in range. Okay. We have a city center. That's neat, Spiky. This is a really cool concept for a game. You want to, like, place things as tightly as possible, I think. Which I'm not currently doing, I'm just learning the game right now. But mansion. Looks like it snaps pretty well to whatever you're looking at. That's enough XP for a level up. Save my other buildings for now. Shaman. Bonus for nearby statues, temples, flowers, seaweed fields. Loses points for city center. Okay. I get it, I think. Shaman is more of a hermit, so he doesn't want to be too close to town. That's interesting. These things count as getting points. Nice. Live out on the beach. Achievement unlocked. Nice spot. This is a cute game. I dig it so far. Oh, that is a statue. Okay. So I probably wanted to have this overlap a bit with the statue without this overlapping with the city center. Gotcha. Can I build more of these guys up here still? So I can destroy rocks. Big statue, no kidding. Here the problem would be proximity. They don't want you to stack like buildings, which makes sense. I like that it's projecting what the penalty is going to be too if you put stuff too close to each other. I have another city on the rocks here. I guess the question is, let me put this one away. Can I immediately start checking out other islands? I can. That's cool. Kind of unexpected. How many islands do I have access to? Not too many. Okay. I need to finish getting points for this stage. So this is interesting. Like, I need to evaluate whether there are enough trees to justify having multiple lumberjacks in the same space. And I think the value over top of it is summarizing how many total points I'm going to have once the positives and negatives are added up. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 16, minus 12 is 4. Okay. So sometimes you actually want to build more. That's a really elegant system. I like how it eats some of the points into the nearby ones. That's very cool. Okay. I don't have any other sawmills. I can try to just get some points and throwing folks back here. Oh, the lumberjack gets points for being near a statue as well. Interesting. I think everybody wants to be near a statue. I'm super close to points here. I think height appears to be relevant. If this game is randomly generated, I can see how, like, each level, just based on the location of the statue, it kind of governs how you should be placing things if you're trying to play optimally. Yeah, so I like that, like, you get a small amount of points for placing a farming patch, but, like, it feels very elegant that using math, placing your mill near the farming patch gives you a ton of points, right? You can just be random about it, but, like, structure sort of flows naturally out of the point incentive system in this game. Fisher. Houses. Houses seem to be always good. At least not a lot bad happens from having too many houses. Imagine this map ends up looking pretty cool eventually, too. Mansion gets bonus points from proximity to the statue. Collect enough points to unlock the button below. Ooh, travel to a new island. Well, I'll keep going for now. Fisher. It's an offshore thing. Makes sense. What are the stats on it? Oh, for nearby city centers, warehouses, statues, huts, seaweed fields. Makes sense. People come down from the city. Oh, this game is really cool. I like that it just kind of throws you into it. Never put shamans near each other. Getting bonus points for having a hermit, basically. It's kind of neat. So you got to be careful where you place the hermit, though, because it restricts where you can place cities going forward without taking a score penalty. Let's check out the next island. Continue on a mysterious new island. There's no way to return to the current island, but you keep your score. Oh. Do I keep my current builds, though? Shaman hut alone on one of the outer islands. I start with new buildings, so I should try to finish using everything that I had before I expand. Got it. You have to make an informed decision about lumber versus farming based on the resources that you see when you spawn in, I guess. Which makes sense. No, I dig this game. I get it. I'm not good at it, but I appreciate what they're doing with it. One of my favorite concepts in game design is this notion that, like, complexity arises from simple rules. You know, we want this to cover as much of this area as possible without it getting in the way where I could place a patch. So, like, the back corner is probably pretty good as long as it can cover the back. It looks like it only has to intersect slightly with the area in the bubble. It doesn't have to, like, completely encompass the object. It's like natural selection, right? If you establish an ecological niche and a basic set of rules, some pressures and incentives that exist in that niche, then life will arise that follows a certain pattern automatically within those parameters. And it's the same thing in game design, that if you say, this thing gives you this many points if it's in this part of the island, like, certain sorts of structures are going to automatically come into the player's mind as, oh, I should build the city here, and I should make sure that the hermit's off on its own island. Anyway, super into it. Brickyard. It's a bonus for nearby mason, warehouse, sandpit, and statue. Sandpit. Use more lasers. Yeah. This is the only other game I've seen that has the witness visual style. It's very close. Oh, this doesn't be ugly because I chose to do it that way. That's okay. I'm still getting points. Doesn't give you points for aesthetic. That's not exactly even either. It's okay. Try not to think about it. I think I'm going to place a sandpit first. And that has to be on sand. That makes sense. Don't want to interrupt the rocks in case the rocks become relevant later, you know? Very cool. City pack, brewing pack. Let's use city. City seems to be pretty good for point generation. What's a good spot for a city? Proximity to the statue is a big one. I'm, like, intensely curious about the statue now. Like, everything else sort of feels like, okay, you know, let's think about city development. What sorts of things do a city need? Maybe they've got a fishery. Maybe they've got a mill and farming. But the statue must have been added after the fact. I'm wondering what purpose it's really serving. Proximity to city center is all that really matters for mansions. I like how the different mansions can look different from each other too. That's cool. You have to kind of fit them in, like Tetris them together. That's fun. We get another sand pit. Proximity to another sand pit is bad, so we want it to be on the opposite side. Let's see, do we have enough trees to really warrant a lumber pack? Not really. Brewing pack. Field of hops. Some more houses over here. Guess proximity to the city center is all that really matters. Maybe other houses? I love that you get different shapes for these, that's fun. I don't think you can cycle through your available shapes at all. Cool. Okay, Hops Farm. Bonus for statue, brewery, resort oasis, hop field. Just a stack of houses, okay. Hops field is kind of aggressive as to where it'll let you put it. Pick one, lumber pack or mason. Brickyard, oh, we've already got sand pit. Cool. What I don't yet know, but I'm curious about, maybe we'll figure it out as the game progresses, is what governs the regeneration of entities that you've already added. Like, I haven't gotten additional farming patches since, like, the second round. Maybe it's based on placement in the prior round, that, like, because I placed buildings next to the city center, I continued to be able to expand those out, and these guys are basically orphaned over here because I haven't built anything near them. We will find out. Mason has to be on rocks, that makes sense. Try to get it as far from the brickyard as possible. Oh, and I get a benefit for it being near the city center. Cool. Jonathan Blow's standing by first. Wait, is this a Jonathan Blow game? I thought it was just coincidental that it was the same visual style as The Witness. Okay. I'd be like, holy crap, no way. Yeah, that's fair. Yes, proximity to the other brickyard is no bueno. Can't quite get it to where it's not in range of that. Should have thought about this more clearly earlier. Yeah, I feel like I put the brickyard in the worst possible place for scoring purposes. Can't quite reach it from up here without touching the other one. Maybe up here will work, if I can just barely place it there. It doesn't quite touch. No! Doesn't quite, it just barely doesn't touch. Let's try over here, I guess. Points are points. Alright, so we need to expand the city center, but we also have to be careful about distance from existing city centers. Let me test my theory and build some stuff over here. I think it wants to be in the center-ish. I like how there's, like, it's not always correct to build the city in one spot. Like, sometimes you want it to have a bigger sphere of influence, sometimes you want to be careful how much space you're covering so it doesn't limit your expansion later on, you know? Got enough points. I wonder if each island is always escalating in size. It's a elegant way to make things crazy. Alright. Shaman gets a bonus for proximity to flowers and seaweed fields. Massive penalty for proximity to Mason, City Center, or other shamans. He's basically a hermit. Interesting, and gets no points if placed on an external island. It's unexpected. Oh, proximity to flowers. I think that's cool. 24 points seems pretty good. I didn't even notice those flower entities before when I was placing my old ones. It has value on its own. Sure, okay. It wasn't a penalty for its placement, is what you're saying. This is a sand pit. All my other sand is on the other side of the island. I'd like to ask if the net benefit of this is worth it being close to another sand pit. In this case, the answer is yes. How'd you discover this game, Brutus? Been following it for a while or anything like that? Giant bomb quick? Nice. I dig it. It's elegant, which is always nice. Pretty popular when it came out in April. Fisher. Alright, new hops fields, that's cool. What is Fisher not like? Seaweed farms and other fishers. Otherwise, it loves everyone. So I can get 13 here due to proximity to the statue and only 11 here, so let's go for that. I am intensely interested. I would love to hear a behind the scenes on why they added this statue. It's like I get it, sort of its purpose. It's an anchor point on the island that is gonna filter most strategies in one direction. Like, you're probably gonna build your first city close to it and try to get as many things near it as you can. But I would be shocked if it existed when the game was first thought up. Makes sense. Well, hop fields don't care about proximity to other hop fields? Oh, they actually benefit from it. I guess that makes sense in the same way that farming patches do. I don't know if you can preview the buildings in a pack before choosing one. I'll have to try next time. It's a good question, though. Lo-fi city builders to relax to. Another brickyard. Again, I have to do the math of is it worth being close to other brickyards. As long as I keep it away from that one on the left, this is not bad. That's even better. Yeah, it's a very elegant, like, supply-demand system, right? Like, of course you wouldn't just build two brickyards next to each other if you didn't have the sand and the rocks to quarry. So just making it a profit calculation is very cool. So this is like an economics game. I saw City Builder, and this is definitely not what I was expecting, just based on that. It's not really as close as I'd like it to be to the city center, but that's okay. Fountain. Bonus for nearby city center, statue, park, mansion. Yeah, I don't think I can see what's inside of a pack. I'm also not yet clear on what governs the regeneration of assets that I've already established around the island. It's not based on placing things near existing objects, it doesn't seem like. Put it in a Zen category. I was like, it requires some mental effort. You can't just completely zone out. If I had left this space a little bit bigger, that fountain would have been buku bucks. I get a bunch of extra points for continuing to build stuff around the fountain. I know that I can always bail out as long as I don't place the last house. I think that's what triggers a game over. Actually, so if I place the last object and I have the option to click on the island, does the game end, or does it let me click on the island at that point? I'm wondering if I should just completely tap out all of my opportunities for XP. Hut. Bonus for nearby city center, statues, shamans, fishers, and oh, so it's like the shaman is a hermit. The hut is kind of what connects the hermit to the main city. That's interesting. There's some fun design space in this game. Still lets you go to the next island? Okay, thank you. Game over is only if you haven't unlocked enough points to fill up the next island and are unable to reach the score threshold for the current round. City center, statue, shaman, fisher, seaweed farm. There you have no moves. Another mason, and you get me 24 points. Very cool. That was a value placement right there. So now we want to start placing shamans near... not the other shaman. Near this hut if we can. Oh, too close. Bummer. Probably put another hut there in the future, though. Hey, Chrono, how you doing? Good seeing you again. Yeah, I'm digging it so far. This game's really cool. It's a very smart game, too. Yeah, when you've got flowers, shamans are worth buku bucks. I didn't really think about this city. Probably should have built it up here where I had more room to expand. And much in the way of farming options over here. Let's do park. Bonus for nearby resort, oasis, fountain, temple, tower, hop field, plateau, statue, city center, tree house. Loses points for, okay. I get it. So the idea is that the park doesn't want to be near industry. Which I might be in trouble with depending on how big that bubble is. Oh, it's not as big as I was worried it was going to be. It can be near some industry. Like farming seems fine for a park to be near, but it doesn't want to be right near the lumberjack. That's elegant. Oh, and proximity to trees, of course. That's cool. I have space to put the park down here somewhere. I kind of like, too, that the way this game is set up, that like eventually you're just going to run out of space. And you could play for as long as humanly possible, but it's got to be really fun when you finish a game of this to publish like the image of your island. So I bet it looks pretty crazy eventually. Okay, so hop fields are a problem now, especially with my recent placement of the park. Let me see if I can get any more expansion. I don't know that I really can. Mansion, might be able to go back here. I might be getting to the tap out point on the stage though. Shamans need flowers for reasons. they like herbs, what you're telling me? Plateau, nearby city centers, masons, plateaus. Oh yeah, the design space for this is super cool. Basically, as you add each piece, you ask, what other pieces could possibly interact with this? I feel like that can be your creative scaffolding for making new buildings in this game. You can probably make new buildings in this game for a really long time as like DLC or patches. Just by asking, okay, take two buildings, say, fisher plus shaman. Like, what is a building that makes sense for a hermit fisherman, right? You can probably come up with some really cool shit. They've already added some since launch. Nice. Figure out what this can be placed on. It has to be... So it's a pretty large building by itself. I see. This would also be a really fun game. I bet you could write a program that could maximize points placement every round. I'd be really interested to see what sort of cities a computer builds. Like a bot, compared to an actual human player. I imagine that they turn out looking pretty different a lot of the time. Seaweed farms are new. It's cool. Now I get points for being near another park. I guess that makes sense. Oh, it's a pond. My bad. Oh no, it's still a park, but it took the form of a pond. That's cool. Okay, I might be pretty close to tapped out here. The plateau still gets me some decent bonus points. Fisher by the other, more different city center. Yeah. No time pressure at all. I kind of like the randomness, too. You don't know what your next pack's going to be. So it has a tactical element, too. Like, it matters where I place this one thing right now. That's the main thing I'm going to be focusing on. Just trying to be smart about where I place that right now. 17... About as good as I'm good. Not enough. Okay, so it's time for the next island, I think. Continue on a mysterious new island. There's no way to return. Keep your score. Okay, let's see. Farming pack or brick industry? Let's try brick industry. There's a lot of sand here. Proximity to statue is almost always relevant. That limits what else I can put here near the statue. Try to focus on towns near the statue, I think. Although lots of things benefit from it, it feels like. putting this as far away as possible. Now what I should have done is I should have placed the sand pit, looked at the size of the bubble, and then placed this right on the end of it, edge of it, right? Cool. That's elegant, and then it mirrors reality too, that like probably not going to want to add a bunch of loggers to the same forest unless if it's a really, really dense forest, right? It's pretty cool. Okay, so that's exactly what I was going for earlier, but I can't quite get it in range unless I build another guy here. Can't get it out of range of that guy either. Try some masons then. Doesn't benefit from sand pits. Let's get it as far away as we can, but still just barely touching. Must be in an actual rock wall for it to count. Try doing another brickworks facility all the way back here, maybe. Can I cover that one without touching my existing brick building? Not really. It's unfortunate. Oops. Okay. More mason locations if we can pull it off. How about distant sand pits? That'll work. Probably put one here too. I love how different this one is like playing out to be compared to the last level, right? Let's see. Proximity to statue, please. This time we want to have some room to build around it instead of putting it up against the back wall. Getting different shaped buildings and like trying to snap them into place so that it is a clean fit is very zen. Zoom in here a little closer. Farming pack, lumber pack. Not a lot of trees here. Let's go with farming. I think farming's going to be rough though, because I don't really have a lot of farmable land, right? Oof. Lumber may have been wiser in retrospect. Try to farm points on proximity to the statue. Spared that level. Things could have been much worse. Ah, it's too bad. It'd be a great place for the mill. They wouldn't be able to get the farmed goods to it, but hey, that's not the point. I love that there's some variety to the placeable objects too. It's not always just green fields, right? It's neat. I feel like this game shares that just one more turn feeling of like civilization. I just want to see whatever the next set of buildings are going to be. I guess let's do lumber. Not happy about it, but can only place it off kilter. I'm very sorry. What do lumberjacks hate? Just lumberjacks. What do sawmills hate? Just sawmills. Well, I guess there's more trees than I gave it credit for. It's sparse, but could be sparser. I really like games like this that are difficult to classify. It's like, yeah, I mean, I guess it's a city builder. I mean, I guess you build cities. That's literally true. But it's definitely its own thing. Shaman. Shaman like flowers and seaweed fields. Do they hate industry or do they not care about industry? Oh, they don't like masons. Brickyards seem to be fine though. $30, really? Oh, because they're near town, but they're not near the city center. That's clever. They want to be near people, but they're introverts. Thank you, young. Oh yeah, I guess I haven't played or heard of those games. They work pretty similar to this, though. I guess I think of something like SimCity, which very different feel as a sim scrub that hasn't really played these kinds of games before. So it's like a minimalist take on it. Okay. Let's do Fisher. We got water for days. It makes more sense to put your fishers further out to sea, it feels like. Oops, that was not on purpose. Bummer. Sorry, mansion. Double-clicked. Now I can't recover you. This town's got a lot of wasted space. Mountain. Oh, yeah. But the core gameplay loop of getting points replacing lake buildings near each other with certain attributes is in those 3 games you listed. And like failure is just not building efficiently enough in a given round. Probably can't sneak anybody in there. being like rounds, where a round is build as efficiently as you can to see if you can continue playing. I see. I like it being broken up into rounds like that. Makes it a lot less intimidating. But doesn't like industry of any kind. Oh, that's not a great build right now. It's almost crankier than the shaman. Doesn't mind being near the city itself, I guess. Right. Well, this game does have an economy, and it does have a profit loss system, right? It's just very abstracted, which I think is cool. Into the fact that, like, the one thing city centers don't like is other city centers, which makes sense. It incentivizes you to build other cities around your island. So the sphere of influence when placing an object only ever matters during its own placement, right? It seems that it doesn't continue to exert a sphere of influence after that. Is that each new object has one. I like that, actually. It's less complicated. More streamlined. Right, so fountains don't like fountains, and that makes sense. I wish I had left just a little bit more space in there. That would have been really nice. Sawmill, parks. I like that the park is an object that enjoys wilderness and also enjoys urban areas. Different effects. Good luck coming up to this park, guys. You want to try, go for it. You know that parks are okay with parks. They don't necessarily like parks. I wish I could fit it right in there. That'd be great. Stay away from industry, basically. That's really cool. I'm enjoying it very much too. I'm playing it differently than others might. King's Quest and the Quest series of games are very like Monkey Island style point-and-click adventure games. Maybe a little bit less comedy focused, but maybe they start forcing like plateau builds on you to really eat up your space towards the end, right? Road builders are gonna hate me. I like that they're not making me bother with roads right now. I could see them adding roads as a future. I'm trying to think how you would do that with the proximity bubble system. It would have to be a really huge bubble. Benefit from other roads, probably. have to make it not snap into place if I want to get maximum points, because of the way I place things back here. Although maybe I can make it snap somewhere. Not really. Wonderful. So you say that as someone... Boston, right? There's some West Coast cities that were built with roads in mind. Or at least the roads are significantly less miserable than they are in parts of New England and Europe, where everything's just a cow path. Nice. It's cool that that was able to fit in there. It was a slightly different size from the last one. Okay, despite proximity to industry, this one's actually okay. That'd be cool. Is this game in full release? Folks mentioned that new buildings have been added since it was launched, but is it technically in like a beta or anything like that? It feels pretty complete. Like I mentioned earlier, I feel like you could expand on this indefinitely. Towers get a bonus for temples, masons, balloons, statues, walls, houses, parks, and mansions, but not other towers. That's cool. Nice. That's like the perfect place for a tower. Depends too, like Santa Fe is pretty much a cowpath town. Has really janky roads. That makes sense. Mayor. So part of your creative scaffolding for this game can be pick any two objects. What could be an object that could conceivably be related to those two objects? The other thing I feel like you could do is you could ask, pick an object, what is something that would love that object, and what is something that would hate that object? Or pick two objects, what is an object that would love both of those things? I guess that's kind of what a park is. Even with the proximity to industry, that's still worth a 10. Warehouses. Oh damn, new sand pit. No kidding. $12 might be the money. Which one is more likely to be capable of love and hate? That's a different game. Warehouses like markets, gold mines, mills, fishers, brickyard. Markets like industry. They do not like the resort oasis or other warehouses. That's a fun attribute to play around with in your design spaces. Does this entity like itself? I think your answer is generally going to be no. Oh, I didn't realize that plateaus provided building space. That makes a lot of sense. Okay. Hey, Lit Effects, how you doing? Yeah, I dig that. Circus. I kind of want to know what governs entity reproduction between rounds, like why I got more cities and fishers versus anything else, but it's kind of fun not knowing. Let's see. Proximity to multiple city centers. Cool. Circuses get bonuses for statues and houses. Loses points for mansions and temples. So commoners like circuses, rich people do not. I see. So maybe I should be... Now, see, this is really interesting with the circus, because the circus is incentivizing you to build rich neighborhoods and poor neighborhoods. I wonder when that came up in development. If it was, we need a building that encourages wealth disparity, or I want a circus. What does a circus do? Like, which came first, I wonder. Yeah. And I actually have basically nowhere productive to place a circus because I've integrated my mansions and my houses. This is what naivete gets you. Can't we all just get along? Not with the circus in town, apparently. Alright, next island. Actually, we got about 3 minutes left. I feel like starting from a new island would be a good starting point if you wanted to keep this on your sub-block, Brutus. I'll just credit you the couple minutes next time you come up. That works for you. I'll go ahead and see what it looks like. Achievement unlocked Empire. Cool. This is very different from any of the islands we've had so far. I feel like it's constantly increasing in size, too. So if I leave... This game is just auto-saving all the time. I assume it's too chill to punish you for turning it off, right? I'll just pick up from here. I assume so. I don't know why I wouldn't do that. Cool. We'll be back in a couple minutes. The next sub-block game is Horizon Zero Dawn, which we'll be playing for 2 hours. Islanders may return if it comes up in someone else's sub-block. See you in a few minutes. Thanks again for sharing that, Brutus. That game was super cool. I really, really liked it.